Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into another major conversation surrounding the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, and Stephanie White. There is a lot happening right now, and fans are reacting to just about everything connected to this team. We'll get to the controversy surrounding Pride Month and the backlash that the Indiana Fever have been receiving online in just a moment. Some fans are expressing frustration, others are defending the organization, and social media has turned into an absolute battlefield. But before we get into all of that, we need to talk about a video featuring Caitlin Clark that has sparked a completely different discussion. Over the last 24 hours, a clip of Caitlin Clark speaking about Stephanie White has been making the rounds online. And let's just say the reaction has been intense. Some people are looking at the video and saying that Caitlin Clark sounds like she's simply being a good teammate and a professional player. Others, however, believe there is something deeper going on. I've even seen comments comparing the interview to a hostage video. Now, obviously, that's a dramatic comparison, but it shows just how strongly some fans are reacting to what they heard. There are even people throwing around terms like Stockholm Syndrome because of how strongly Caitlin Clark appeared to defend Stephanie White. Now look, I want to be fair here. Caitlin Clark has always carried herself professionally. She has never been the type of player to publicly criticize her coach, her teammates, or the front office. In fact, one of the reasons so many people respect Caitlin Clark is because she consistently takes the high road, even when she's under an enormous amount of pressure. But this particular interview has left some fans confused. They're asking why Caitlin Clark seems so committed to defending Stephanie White at a time when criticism of the Indiana Fever coaching staff is reaching an all-time high. At the end of the day, none of us truly know what is happening behind closed doors. We don't know what conversations are taking place inside the organization, and we certainly don't know what Caitlin Clark is thinking privately. What we do know is that the 6-minute clip has generated a lot of debate, and people on both sides of the argument have strong opinions. So instead of speculating any further, let's take a look at this exactly what Caitlin Clark had to say about Stephanie White. Let's get into it.
I mean, first of all, two people being competitive, two people that really want to win, and I think a lot of those things happen all the time, and I know there's a camera on me, and that's how it's going to be, but there's a lot of people out there in the media or on TV that they think they know a lot of things and they're just blatantly wrong about a lot of things, and I ride for Steph. I ride for these girls. Steph has my back more than anybody, so, nobody in that locker room, in our locker room, or Steph or our coaching staff thought twice about it. It's just another example of what everybody, all of you, want to blow up and make something that is just lost and not in reality.
Now, how would you describe your relationship with Steph?
It's great. There's nobody, when I got hurt at the Connecticut game last year, I bawled in Steph's arms. That's somebody I will ride for the rest of my life. Those are the moments that people behind, people don't see that. People that just sit on their phones all day, they don't see those moments. They don't see the moments where we come into work. They don't see the moments that really absolutely suck, that people have your back, but they think they know everything. In reality, they don't have a clue. And it's old, but it's the reality in the life that I've lived for the past 5 years, and it's something I'm used to, but me and Steph both know what it is, and that's somebody who I will always ride for. She had my back when really nobody else did, so
sorry about that.
You're all good.
The fire that you have and the fire that Steph has, obviously, how does that make you better in moments where you want to, where you need that extra push?
Yeah, I think she coaches me. As bad as I want it, Steph wants it the same way for me, and she wants it the same way for this team. She's been in this part of this organization as a player, as a coach, and now trying to hopefully get us to win our second championship as an organization. She wants this for these people. She grew up in this state. She knows what this state's all about and the way they support the Fever. She wants it just all of us do, and you have to remember she was a player, and coaches have the same competitive fire that players do. They just don't get to put on the jersey. And at times, I'm sure that's really hard for them. Like, they want to be out there and maybe have the ball in their hands a little bit. I mean, I don't know that they're getting pretty old, so I don't know if her knees will keep up. But, I think that can be the hard thing for them at sometimes. But they want it just as bad as the players do. They're not there to, just stand there and tell us what play to run. Like, they're here, they have a competitive fire, they know what this organization's all about, and, they're trying to help us, have a championship mentality and win championships.
What's it like for you to have a moment like that, to play out so publicly and everybody to have an opinion on it?
It's my life. Yeah.
Are you used to it anymore?
Used to it, yeah.
What even led to it? Just the blow up. Not blow up, like.
I think we were down 20 points, so probably that.
And then for you,
And it wasn't a blow up, so
sorry.
I wouldn't put that either.
Sorry for framing.
It's all good.
Well, when you
Heads up.
have those moments where you have the passion, you talk about that, and you and Steph
Yeah.
talked about this before. But is there any line that you see within yourself where you're like, maybe I've gone too far, maybe I haven't? How do you?
Absolutely. Like, I'm not perfect, and I know I'm not perfect. And I go back and watch every game, and it's been the same way since college. Like, I know there's immense amount of pressure, and sometimes that pressure can get to you and, frustrate you in different ways, and certainly can get to you when you're down 15 points. And, that's on me. I have to be a lot better as well, too. And a lot of different scenarios. I'm not speaking to any sort of scenario that has happened in the last couple of games, but, I want to win. This team wants to win. And I'm the point guard, so it's on me to help this team and this franchise win, and I certainly know that. And, I take that on my shoulders, and I critique myself more than anybody, and I have to be better. Right now we're playing like a 500 team that we are, and, I have to look myself in the mirror and find ways that I can make this team better, how I can get better individually, and, more than anything, that's going to make us better collectively as a group.
You guys have given up 103 times this season. What
Yeah.
defensive improvements are for you guys?
I think it's just a toughness and a will to play defense. And, we've tried to simplify because we've really slacked in a lot of areas and a lot of the ways that coaches have wanted us to guard. And that's on us players. We have to rise to the occasion and find ways to get stops and, have a sense of pride in it and a sense of urgency in the things that we're trying to do. And I think also, like, collectively, like, working as one on the court. We're 5 individuals, but you need to have each other's back. One person gets beat, it's next person rotating. Like, nobody's out there on an island to be by themselves. That's why you got 4 teammates playing with you. That's why you have a bench full of 10 other people. Like, we're all there to help each other. You're there to serve your teammates, and I think we can all just do a little bit better job of that. And like I said, it starts with me, and I think we'll get it figured out. And more than anything, I think it's just a will and a toughness about us.
For you specifically, how do you think you can improve defensively, Kayla? And obviously,
Yeah.
people are going to go at you because
Yeah.
that's part of trying to play
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I expect it to continue to happen. I think I've guarded probably the most isolations in the league so far, but I think just using my body a little bit better, a lot of backpedaling in the last game. I think, like, forcing the catch out a little bit further, make them take a few dribbles outside the three-point line rather than them letting them in the paint in their first couple dribbles. I just think a physicality and a toughness, get them to slide a little bit more laterally than just straight downhill, but I know I have to improve in that area, and I certainly will, and continue to work on it. And it's one of those things, you look in the mirror, you watch the film, you find ways to get better. And I think even, like, comparing, like, the first Golden State game we had here and then the last game, like, the difference is, I forced them into, 12, 15-foot contested jump shots rather than the, 7-foot shots around the rim. Like, those are a lot easier for people to make. Those are the shots that we want to take. So I think, just forcing them out a little bit further, forcing them out beyond the three-point line, and just doing that. Just a little different level of physicality.
I think what happened in that moment is I was challenging a player. It's coaching. It's what it is. I don't often think it becomes an issue if you're watching it in men's sports most of the time. And my relationship with Caitlin is great. Like, I love Caitlin. I ride with her. Like, we have a great relationship. And I think that the narrative of people trying to make it something that it's not is just, taking sensationalism to try to get some clicks and all the other stuff. She wants to be coached. I want her to help me be a better coach. We're both competitive. We're both stubborn. We're more alike than different. Hopefully we continue to bring the best out of each other.
The problem for a lot of fans is that they watched everything unfold with their own eyes. That's why so many people are having a difficult time accepting what they're hearing now. When people talk about Stephanie White and the way she has handled certain situations involving Caitlin Clark, they're not basing their opinions solely on rumors. They're looking at games, press conferences, substitutions, body language, and interactions they've personally witnessed throughout the season. And look, this is just my opinion, but there have been moments where Stephanie White has appeared visibly frustrated. Whether that's fair or unfair is up for debate, but fans notice those things. They pay attention to every reaction, every substitution, and every decision. That's why this interview from Caitlin Clark has generated such a strong response. The clip goes on for several minutes, and honestly, it only raises more questions the longer it continues. Caitlin Clark discusses her injury, her recovery process, and her relationship with Stephanie White. Throughout the interview, she repeatedly expressed confidence in the coaching staff and support for Stephanie White. Now, from one perspective, that's exactly what you would expect from a franchise player. She's being professional, she's supporting her coach publicly, she's avoiding controversy. But from another perspective, some fans are watching this and thinking, wait a minute, are we all seeing the same thing? That's where the disconnect is happening. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I never expected Caitlin Clark to publicly attack Stephanie White. That's simply not who Caitlin Clark is. She has always carried herself with professionalism. She's never been the type to throw teammates, coaches, or executives under the bus. However, some of her most loyal supporters feel like they're being put in a difficult position right now. Many of these fans have spent months defending Caitlin Clark online. They've argued with critics, they've defended her against opposing fan bases, they've pushed back against negative media narratives. So when they hear Caitlin Clark strongly defending Stephanie White, some of them feel confused. One fan wrote, "Caitlin Clark needs to stand up for herself. The media and rival fans are going to call her entitled anyway, so she might as well tell the truth." Another fan pointed to a specific coaching decision that continues to spark debate. Stephanie White pulled her after she accounted for all 8 points in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and then Portland ran the Fever out of the gym. Of course, not everyone agrees with that criticism. Some fans continue to believe Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark have a strong working relationship. One supporter wrote, "People are reading way too much into this. Steph's got her back." But others remain skeptical. One comment asked, "How does a coach who takes you out after you've scored all your team's points have your back?" Then came some of the more dramatic reactions that inevitably show up whenever social media gets involved. One person joked, "OMG, they're holding her hostage. Blink twice if someone is holding a gun to your head." Another wrote, "Caitlin, blink if they're making you say this." Again, those comments are clearly exaggerations, but they reflect the frustration some fans are feeling. What stands out to me is how divided the fan base has become. Some people believe Caitlin Clark is simply handling the situation like a professional athlete. Others believe she's protecting Stephanie White at the expense of acknowledging legitimate concerns that fans have about the direction of the Indiana Fever. One supporter came to Caitlin Clark's defense by saying, "CC is taking responsibility for her own performance and trying to improve. Has Stephanie White done the same?" Another focused on basketball strategy. Caitlin Clark needs better opportunities offensively. She needs more screens, more movement, and more support from the coaching staff. At the end of the day, nobody outside the Indiana Fever organization knows the full story. We don't know what conversations are happening behind closed doors. We don't know what Caitlin Clark truly thinks when the cameras aren't rolling. And we don't know how Stephanie White views all of the criticism surrounding the team. What we do know is that fans are paying attention, emotions are running high, and every interview seems to create even more questions than answers. One final comment summed up the mood of many frustrated fans. When does Caitlin Clark start her villain arc? Honestly, I don't know. I really don't. But whatever's happening behind the scenes, it's clear that the debate surrounding Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White, and the Indiana Fever isn't slowing down anytime soon. Tell me what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.